Sorry, my fault. We're beta testing live streaming of the show. So I fat finger a couple things as we beta test this morning here on News Radio WRVA. My name is Rich Herrera. Appreciate you spending time with us. So if all goes well, we'll be able to stream the show, YouTube, Facebook, have more clips of the show. I'm beta testing on my personal YouTube and Facebook at Rich for America with the number 4. So we've gone from no latency that everything, well, actually we started with, it looked like it was a bad dubbing of a foreign movie where they dub in the lines and it just nothing matched. Then we got the latency fixed out. So I think we're just about right. That's why I keep clapping. Like when you watch them make a movie, they go, okay, rolling, sound in 3, 2, and they go. That's how they know that the sound and the picture are even. So if I've been going like this morning, I'm trying to sync up the sound and the picture, and then we'll be able to stream for everybody. And you can all get an experience of Richmond's morning news on the radio and then digitally as well. So good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on News Radio WRVA. I did want to bring something up that I talked about yesterday. I was on Newsmax for Wake Up America Weekend Edition. I like doing those. It's kind of fun. Although sometimes they have me debate progressives and liberals, and that's a lot of fun. But this time, I was part of the panel, and we talked about a couple things. I spoke about what was going on with the negotiations in the Middle East. Then we spoke about Eric Swalwell. Yesterday, the question was whether he's going to drop out of the race running for governor. I want to point something out to you. This morning here on Richmond's Morning News. By the way, you want to comment, you can, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140 is where you can send us a text message on the James River Air text line. See if you've heard this before, talking about the Democratic leadership and Eric Swalwell. See if you've heard this before. Oh, no, he's 100% good to go. Oh, no, he's fine. Oh, no, he runs circles around me. Oh, no, don't believe what you see. Oh, no. That's a deep fake. That's a cheap fake. That's not what's really going on right now. Oh, no. Whatever the media is telling you about him, it's not true. He's really a stand-up good guy, and he knows what he's doing. Maybe he shouldn't run for office anymore. Maybe we should dump him. Maybe the knives will come out and shiv him and throw him out of the race, but not out of office. Who am I talking about? You might have thought I was talking about Eric Swalwell, but I wasn't. I was talking about Joe Biden. Follow the pattern. I have discovered yet again the Democratic playbook that they don't want any of us to know about. You've seen this before. Everything's fine until suddenly it isn't. And then they pull the plug, they stick the knife in his back, and they tell him to get out. Now, this time around, it's Eric Swalwell. Up until days ago, he was a rising star of the Democratic Party. He and Ruben Gallego were the best of buddies, and they were going to go into Washington, and they were making all these chases. He's on TV. He's calling out Brett Kavanaugh. He's calling out Donald Trump. He's going after January 6th people. He's fighting with Republicans. He's standing there. He's going hammer and talk because he is a star of the Democratic Party. He's on TV. He's raising money, and he's going to be the next governor of the state of California. He might be president one day. Meanwhile, you hear the little whispers in the background. A lot of the money that he used to get elected comes from a Chinese spy that he might have been, Oh, no, you can't do that. Nancy Pelosi, when she's in the House and she's in leadership, Kevin McCarthy said, this guy needs to be taken off the Intelligence Committee. He's compromised due to Fang Fang, the Chinese spy. She fought to keep him on there. Hakeem Jeffries comes back, and then he's the leader. And McCarthy goes, yeah, he's nowhere near there. They try to put it back on the Intelligence Committee. Don't you pick on Eric Swalwell. He's a swell guy. So being involved with the Chinese spy wasn't enough to get him kicked out of the Democratic Party, but evidently this is. You see, that's what they do. They'll stand there, defend. Eric Swalwell, meet Joe Biden. For years, you saw Joe Biden. You saw him just starting to go downhill quickly. Kareem Jean-Pierre, members of the cabinet all said, no, he's fine. Yes, he fell down at the Air Force Academy. He's fine. Yes, he's standing there trying to shake hands with ghosts, but he's fine. Yes, he's standing there and Barack Obama has to pull him off stage, but he's fine. Yes, he has to have a teleprompter to give a speech in front of 20 people, but he's fine. Don't believe what you see. He's fine. Until it was so apparent that he wasn't fine, and people stopped believing those lies. Then Nancy Pelosi sticks a knife in his back, and the rest of them all come running to stab him, push him out of office, or push him off the campaign trail. See the same playbook with Eric Swalwell? Up until a couple days ago, he was the rising star. And if I ever brought up Fang Fang, no, you're just doing it because you're MAGA. You're a horrible person. I don't know. I'm not getting money from a Chinese spy and then having other questions about that. But bringing it up makes me a horrible human being because he is going to stand there and fight Donald Trump with every fiber of his being until the Democratic Party turns on him and they say we can't defend him anymore. And then they turn him loose. Up until days ago, rising star on TV, raising money, now apologizing and getting pushed off stage. But here's the part the Democrats won't tell you, and this is what I want to bring up. Have they removed him from power, or do they just present him? Do they remove him from power, or do they just stop him from advancing in the hierarchy of power? Because that's the most important thing for you to realize. I call it the tell. That's what the tell is. We were playing poker. I know their tell now. If this was a scouting report that I was doing for football, now I know their weakness. We just watched it with Joe Biden. For years, he's fine. He's sharp. Then overnight, he can't run. But can he stay in office? Can Eric Swalwell stay in office? And Eric Swalwell is such a horrible human being that all the Democrats are coming out there and they're stabbing him in the back and they're saying, get out, get out. You can't run. You can't run. You're a horrible human being. I'm taking back my endorsement of him, and I don't want you to be governor of California. Same pattern. Defend, deny, reverse. And then it's control the issue, fix the problem, contain it, move on. But here's what I want to ask you today on this radio show. If someone is unfit to run for office, how are they still fit to serve in their current capacity? Did you ask yourself when they said, well, Joe Biden can't run for president, he's not with it anymore? Then how in the world do you still have him with the football? With the codes to the bomb? How do you still have him a commander-in-chief? If he's not capable of running for office for another term, how do you justify keeping him in office right now when you see that he's not all there? Oh, don't bring that up. No, it's a legitimate question. If you're saying Joe Biden can't run for office in the future, why is he still president of the United States? Nobody wanted to answer that question when I asked it then, so I'll ask it now. If Swalwell is such a horrible human being that they're pulling the plug and he just put a pause in his campaign, he's dropping out of the race, if he was such a horrible human being that did these despicable things to members of his staff in Congress, and you say he can't run for governor. Do you have that clip from Mark Warner? Here's Mark Warner.
Senator, I do want to ask about allegations of against one of your fellow Democrats, Eric Swalwell, allegations of rape and sexual misconduct. He denies these allegations as false, say they never happened. You are a leader in your party. Do you think he should resign from Congress or face expulsion?
You know, Dana, I have seen the reports. I think I've met Mr. Swalwell once or twice. I want to hear his side of the story, but obviously, if any of these allegations are true, he should no longer be a candidate, at least candidate for governor. But again, I don't know any of the facts, and I'm a little old-fashioned. I feel like I ought to hear the facts before I start weighing in.
but I can weigh in that he can't run for governor of California, but I won't weigh in whether he deserves to keep his seat in the Congress, where they allege he did all this malfeasance. If someone's unfit to run for office, Senator, how are they still fit to serve the people in Congress? That's the tell. This isn't about right and wrong. This is about your spin. This is about your damage control. If you remove him right now, if you remove him off the ballot in California, but you keep him in power, that's not holding him accountable. That's damage control for the Democratic Party. If Joe Biden isn't able to run for office because he's unfit to serve another term as president, why in the world is he still president of the United States? Again, it's all about damage control. I read the book. I read a lot of the books. And you know why they pushed Joe Biden out? They were afraid that he was going to cost them the House and a bunch of votes. They said he's going to drag the ticket down. It wasn't about whether he was competent. They worried about their power. Why is Eric Swalwell still a member of Congress? They haven't kicked him out. Hakeem Jeffries is down here in Richmond, Virginia, asking for a 10-1 map to fix the election so you and I don't get to choose who goes to Congress. Simple. Because he was in D.C. dealing with Swalwell, and they kick him out of office, there's one less seat for Hakeem Jeffries. It's all about power, folks. It's not about accountability. It's about power. It's about raw, naked power. Taking Joe Biden out was about Hakeem Jeffries wanting to make sure that he didn't lose his majority in the House, that he could try to be Speaker of the House. Not property. Taking Eric Swalwell out is damage control, so he doesn't ruin anything else for the Democrats. So now you know their playbook. Deny, deny, deny. Even if the charges are legit, like he's messing around with the Chinese spy, until it becomes something that's just, I can't deny it anymore. I can't defend it anymore. I'm not going to stick my knife in him, not let him run for a future office, but he's okay to stay in Congress. Please square that one up for me, if you will.
Crack the code, callers.
Number for you to join us here on the program, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. It's not about accountability. It's about damage control for the Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries, and I dare anyone to tell me any different. I dare anyone to tell me any different this morning, because you can't.